running any type of president seat, why are you not cleaning up your own community if Black Lives Matter? Where were you at in Chicago? Where were you at in Baltimore? Where were you at in Ferguson last week when Jamila Bolden was shot dead in her own home in that drive-by shooting on Tuesday night? If Black Lives Matter, where are you when this stuff in foolishness is occurring? I would be... Every president candidate out there should challenge them. Yes, they should meet with them and ask them, why are you not cleaning up your own community before you ask me to clean up mine? You understand what I'm saying, Charles?
I understand. Believe me, I understand exactly what you're saying. You're kind of preaching to the choir here. But having said that, we've seen where some Democrats have tried to say, well, all lives matter, and they've been beaten down to the point where they've had to apologize. And to me, that's so crazy. It's so nuts. And I love the idea of turning it back on. If we're talking about accountability, we always should begin with the person in the mirror.
Exactly. I mean, like I said before, my message just repeats itself again and again. We are going around in constant circles to some people who cannot recognize their own foolishness. Black Lives Matter only because they want to protest for thugs. You understand what I'm saying? They're nowhere to be found in our own community. I'm still looking for them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in L.A. I'm looking for them. I don't see them. But yet they want to go to police stations and they want to protest and disrespect other people. Start with us. Talk to me. Start with us. Because I have a whole lot to tell you about what's going on in our own community if Black Lives Matter. You understand me? People are sick of this foolishness. All lives matter, I understand. But yet if you want to recognize Black lives, recognize the ones that we are killing in our own communities if you want to talk about this. You understand? No presidential candidate should be afraid of this superficial, shallow movement. They are cookies with no milk, Lamborghini with no 12-cylinder engine, clouds without tempest. They are shallow. You understand? They are a movement going, but when you look inside, it's nothing there.
So you as a person, as this person that has so much privilege and has never really had to internalize oppression the way that an oppressed community has.
Well, you don't know much about my background, so I wouldn't make presumptions.
Okay, but I'm saying the way that an oppressed community has. So we live in a white supremacist society. That's just...
No, don't buy it. We don't live in a white supremacist society.
Okay.
No, look, if you think this is a white supremacist society, you should read some history.
Can I just finish my argument? So... this is my argument, and then this is probably where the disagreement occurs.
Yeah.
But so I feel like as that person, you can't speak for a community that has already organized and spoken about what they need in order to...
Why should I assume that the people who are speaking for that community are valid representatives of the community? Merely because they put themselves forward as that? We have a democracy so that people can elect representatives that have credibility. Anybody can stand up and say, I'm representing community X. Okay. That doesn't give them legitimacy apart from the integrity of their argument. So I'm not convinced at all that the people who are speaking out on behalf of X community are legitimate representatives of those communities. Just because they happen to belong, like, I'm not a legitimate representative of white men.
Yeah.
I'm just me.
Yeah.
Now, I also happen to be white since we have to have that discussion.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make me a representative of white people.
Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook. We hot. When will you need us?
Oh, Judge, you are so wrong. Let me correct a few things. First of all, she's not Hillary. She's Madam Secretary.
She's not Secretary anymore. You're wrong right off the bat.
You call her Madam Secretary like you call any former member of the cabinet by their highest rank.
Oh,
Before that, she was a senator.
Get to the point.
Second, this is a colossal waste of time. Half of the facts that you just mentioned, or half of the pieces of information you just mentioned, are absolute inaccurate.
What's inaccurate?
And some of them are downright
Coco,
lies.
what's inaccurate?
She did not pass along classified information.
I didn't
using
say
this
she
email.
did, Coco. You need to listen better. Here's the thing.
I did listen.
She did not have it on a government email.
She's not under criminal investigation.
Oh, what is the FBI investigating? Or yoga classes? The FBI investigates crimes.
No, you're a judge. You know that when the FBI asks questions, it is not always a criminal matter.
What are they asking her about? What she was going to wear to her daughter's wedding? Are you kidding, Coco?
I'm not kidding. This is nothing more than the witch hunt that's been leveled against this woman for the last 30 years. And the fact that you talk about her like she's some kind of crazy, self-involved dilettante is just insulting, because this woman has given 30 years of her life.
Come on, she's
trying
been trying to be president for 30 years. You tell me one thing she did at the State Department, one law she passed as a United States Senator that has benefited anyone. Give me, come on, tell me. Let's go, Coco.
Aid to the workers at 9/11?
Wow, I don't think that was
Patriot
she
Act?
one of the people on the bill? That's big of her. She's from New York. That's it? 30 years?
You know what? The Republicans have spent a lot of time opposing aid to 9/11 workers.
Oh,
so,
come on.
I think that is an accomplishment.
All right, let me ask you this.
And the Secretary of State,
Do you know that if you don't have business, government business, on a server that can be captured, that is a crime? Do you know that? It's called
Wait, if you
18
say that again,
USC.
say that again, Judge. That if you don't have government business on a server, that doesn't make any sense.
On a government server. On a government server.
Let me tell you something. This is just nothing more than all of the witch hunts that have been leveled at this woman for 30 years, because you all have Clinton derangement syndrome.
Okay.
You hate this woman because she's a woman and a strong woman.
Let me tell you, no one wants a woman president more than I do, but not a woman who is constantly under investigation, who constantly dances with federal prosecutors.
She's constantly
not
under
a woman who lies.
Because there's an
you
entire
know she
industry.
lies, Coco.
No, I don't think she lies. There's an entire industry of people that have made their fortunes just going after these
Let me
people,
ask you a
after
question. If she's so transparent, why did she scrub that server? If she's so transparent, why didn't she give that server to a third party? Why did she do all that?
First of all, it's because there was nothing on it left. She had turned over all of her emails on a thumb drive.
She deleted 30,000 of them and got rid of and had the server scrubbed.
Why would you? I think
that's wonderful, Pierce.
Why would you be so scathing about Rachel Jeantel and so patronizing to a young woman who's clearly been through an appalling ordeal, and who, when I interviewed her, I found to be a smart cookie, like I said. I found her to be fun and warm, engaging, street smart, and clearly from her educational background, nowhere near as stupid as you like to think she is.
Once again, I never used the word stupid. You did. She was the most important witness in a murder trial. She was standing between George Zimmerman and 30 years in jail, and for you to act as if she was somehow abused by Don West, whose job was to make sure his client didn't go to jail, is outrageous. And as far as education is concerned, I applaud Mr. Joyner. He's done a lot of work in the black community for education, and I would recommend, Pierce, that we do something about the 50% dropout rate in the inner city, and about the fact that President Obama opposes allowing parents to use vouchers to get their kids out of bad government schools and into a better school so they can have a possibility to get to the middle class. That's what we ought to be talking about here, instead of some aberrant situation like George Zimmerman going to somebody that he thinks is suspicious, and they have an exchange, and there's an unfortunate death, as if somehow that's some sort of indictment of America, and black people should look over their shoulders every night and act as if some white guy is going to jump out of a bush and get them. It is outrageous. Hard work wins. Get an education. Don't pay attention to negative people, and stay focused, and you'll be okay in America. That's why most of the people in the world want to come here. That's why you want to come here, Pierce.
Richard, give me an example. Give Dana and I an example. And if you have one, I would think Dana and I will condemn it and will say, absolutely, we don't support it. I'm a Tea Party member. Dana is. Give me an example where this has happened.
Well, Sean, I'm happy that you want to condemn it, because I think you're completely right. I don't think the Tea Party is a race. I don't think the Tea Party movement itself is racist. I think the Tea Party has been a home for racism and for people that believe in racist ideology and racist policies
now
like
give me the
neo-Nazis.
specifics. I'm waiting for the specifics. Dana's waiting patiently for the specifics.
A couple years ago, when they passed the Health Care Reform Act, CBC members, this was reported by the AP, CBC members were walking out, or Congressional Black Caucus were walking out of the Capitol. They were called the N-word. They were spit upon. They were jeered.
Andrew Breitbart offered $100,000 for any evidence to back that claim up, and it didn't exist.
The AP reported it. There was an AP reporter there that reported it, Sean.
The mainstream media, Dana, can get it wrong?
Yeah, well, Richard's omitting the fact that Emanuel Cleaver, who, by the way, is a lawmaker from my home state of Missouri, actually backpedaled on some of that, which was reported, as he's quoting, by the Associated Press. Not to mention, there were a sea of webcams there. There were a sea of iPhone cameras and handheld cameras, and not a single one of those cameras, in an era where we have such digital technology and we're able to capture absolutely everything, not a single one of those cameras, Sean, as you know, captured anything that any of these CBC members were alleging, and then of course you had Cleaver backpedaling as well. So let's report the full scope of the story and not just rely on some, oh, well, the AP said. Well, the AP also said this too.
But Richard, you just said that it was racial in some regard. The Tea Party's racial. I wouldn't be a part of a group that was racial. Dana wouldn't be a part of a group that's racial. So tell me, give me examples and help me out here.
That's not what I said, Sean. I said the Tea Party as a movement is not racist. I'm not saying the Tea Party is racist. What I'm saying is the Tea Party has become a bastion for racism and racist individuals.
A bastion means there's a lot of examples.
But you're saying the same thing. It's semantics. You're saying the same thing.
It's not semantics at all. It is not semantics at all. There are people who are noted neo-Nazis, people who are noted, who are, for example, Stormfront.com, who they profess to be part of the Tea Party, they're anti-Semitic, they're homophobic, they're racist,
give me an example.
and I can go on and on about how they do not like African Americans.
We're going around in a circle. Richard, I think this is... Give us examples, yeah.
I just gave you an example. Stormfront.com.
I've never heard of them.
Organization
Who are they?
It's an organization that professes to be part of the Tea Party, and they actually do not like African Americans.
The Black Panthers profess to be part of the progressive movement. So do you?
Wait a second. Now let's be very clear.
Oh, wait a minute. No. Let's be clear. It's the same thing.
Long story. This is bigger than that racist. Long story. That racist stuff you're talking about. This is bigger than any racist. Black Lives Matter is racist because all lives matter. All of our lives matter.
Do you know that the Black Lives Matter is trying to make all lives matter?
No, the Black Lives Matter is divide and conquer. You cannot running around saying things. You can't run around saying things like pigs in a blanket, fried like bacon, pigs in a bacon, fried like bacon. That's making people think it's okay to harm our cops. Some cops may be bad. Yeah, some cops are bad, yes. But not all cops are that way.
But what do we do about the bad cops?
Every cop doesn't early in the morning go to work and say, oh yeah, baby, I gotta kill me a black person.
How about them not shooting up? How about locking them up when they're dead?
Going out and shooting them?
How about, I haven't shot them, how about locking them up?
If they're guilty of something,
I mean, right now we're seeing cops walking out of Baltimore courtroom.
Because they were innocent.
But who killed Freddie Gray?
They were innocent.
So how did Freddie Gray die?
The cops didn't kill him eventually.
I didn't ask how they didn't die. How did he die? We still did not get the answer.
Right.
We don't. How do we know that? That's the problem.
What the autopsy said. But they've had their day in court. They've had their day in court, and they were found not guilty.
Broke his damn van when he was in there. So they are accountable for something. And they're not being held
shot in a park just playing with a gun. Did you play with a gun? He was pointing that gun. He had taken the orange gun and pointing it at people in the park. There was videotapes of him pointing at people in the park.
Well, can I say this? I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm gonna leave it at that.
But what about people?
I got one for you. Are you willing to die to take my gun rights? Because I'm willing to die to keep my gun rights.
And that's what it's about. Good. Thank you.
I'm just trying to get
Thank you.
It's cut and dry. It's cut and dry.
Do you think that I'm arguing against you?
5,000 deaths by gun.
It's right.
500,000
Black and
by
black.
abortion.
Black on black.
What does that
Thank
mean?
you, ma'am. You're welcome. Thank you.
It doesn't mean bad cops are allowed to
dead.
My name is Kenneth Lane, and I'm from Amityville, New York. Amityville Horror. And I'm over here giving a lot of Amityville Horror. I'm waking people up. I'm waking up the dumb sheep. I'm letting them know that they're being played. They are being played. I mean, from the uterus, we are brainwashed. Only the people are free thinkers, like myself, the establishment is afraid of. I'm a free thinker. That's what I am. I got plenty of them. Thank you. I'm a free thinker. I don't let what they believe what they tell me, because they've been complicit in the brainwashing procedure. And everyone out there, the best thing you need to do, get rid of your TV.
Donald Trump set out these diversity outreach programs. How did you get involved?
Basically, I got in contact with Michael Cohen, who is the special counsel to Mr. Donald Trump, and I informed him that I would like to help out with the outreach for not just minorities, but for women, for Hispanics, for Asians, for Arabs, for everyone to learn about this candidate. You know, he talked about jobs and improving communities and national security, tougher immigration, schools, everything. If you're an American, you are concerned about. It doesn't matter that you're black or white or purple. I always tell people, when ISIS straps on their bombs, they don't say, hey, let the black person walk by, let the Hispanic walk by, and then blow the white guy up. No, they say, I'm going to blow up Americans. They see us as Americans.
That's
and as soon
true.
as we see each other that way, the better.
What do you say to people who are concerned about his comments about Mexicans are rapists, or the president's birth certificate, or Muslims shouldn't be allowed in the country? How do you address that?
What I would say is that legal immigrants are tired of fighting illegal immigrants for jobs, just like Americans are tired of fighting illegal immigrants for jobs. Every good Muslim, I don't know one good Muslim who has a problem with Donald Trump saying a radical Islamic terrorist, because they are sick and tired of the stain that comes on the religion when you have this minority, this few that's ruining it all for the entire religion. That's the same thing as far as with black people. All black people aren't bad. We all work. We do what we're supposed to do. But you have pockets in our communities that are shooting people. Right here in Chicago, 3,600 dead in the black community. And so we have got to be concerned about one another. And what Donald Trump is saying is, look, I want to be the president of the United States. I don't want to be the president of black America, white America.
So you'd want to see stop and frisk
America.
on the south and west side?
Stop and frisk is already on the south side and the west side of Chicago. I'm in the courtroom every single day, and a lot of my clients that come in have been stopped and frisked, and they found guns or drugs or whatever, and some of them, they were innocent. Don't get me wrong. But that's going on every single day. What we need is for the people in these violent communities need jobs. We know that when Americans are at work, who has time to think about crime when you're at work? We know that the devil's workshop is idle hands. And so what Donald Trump is saying, look, his best answer is, I want to bring jobs. Let me do it for you. Best debate line: Democrats care about the inner city when it's election time. After election time, what do you get? Zero. What was her response? Quiet. Why? Because that is the truth. He told the unadulterated truth. And even though people don't want to hear the truth is bitter, but we have to swallow it. The Democratic Party, I voted for over 20 years of my life. I voted for Barack Obama when he said he was going to bring hope and change. And yes, we can. And no, we didn't. The jobs didn't come. The better schools didn't come. The investment in our communities did not come. National security, our borders are open. We're not safe. We're not safe. And we've got to stop thinking as black and white and purple and Arab. We've got to start thinking as Americans. And that's what Donald Trump is saying.
I'm coming from the land where the choppers roam. So fuck you, bitch, and your copper tone. Stringy hair, no derriere. Frontin' and faking with your silicone hair.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. My name is Tanae. I'm the current president of our NAACP chapter.
Great.
And so I just have a few questions. During your entire presentation, I noticed that you failed to mention that feminism is the belief that men and women are equal. So do you not think this? And then also, I noticed when you were talking about America's values and about how great America is, you failed to mention that our nation was built on the power of white men without the acknowledgement of black people, the Indians, women at least. So do you not think that men and women are equal? Do you not acknowledge the problems that we have here in America that does, in fact, not make America great?
All right. No. Let's be respectful.
I mean, not triggered. I understand how to handle myself, unlike some Trump supporters.
Guys. It was a perfectly reasonable, respectful question. Let's be respectful.
Thank you.
On the first half of your question, women don't agree with you. Fewer than 1 in 5 women in America describes themselves as a feminist, even though over 85% of them believe in inequality between the sexes. Why? Because they know that feminism has become something different now. They know that the feminism you're talking about, it's very convenient, isn't it, to sort of treat men like shit, and then when people say, I'm not a feminist, say, oh, but feminism's out of quality. That's not what feminism has become. It's not what feminism is anymore. Feminism is a mean, vindictive, spiteful, nasty, man-hating philosophy.
So
that
why
has very
would you
little, well, let me
promote-
finish, because I let you finish, okay? That has very little to do with the equality of the sexes, and a lot to do with man-hating. And the way that you know that is women are abandoning it in their millions. Women don't want feminism anymore. They have rejected your version completely. They don't agree with you. In the UK, the numbers are even worse. Just 7% of women in the UK describe themselves as feminist, despite the fact that 92% of women in the UK believe in equality of the sexes. It's very clear what's happening. They don't believe that those two things mean the same, because if they did, they'd give the pollsters the same answer to both those questions. Women know that feminists say one thing and do another. Women know that the primary purpose of feminism these days isn't to promote equality, it is to beat down on men. So you've lost, you have a big PR problem on your hands, and when you come up and say, well, how dare you not mention that it's actually just about equality of the sexes, don't you believe in equality of the sexes? I very clearly said in my speech multiple times that I do, and that I love women, that I care about them. But, this sleight of hand that feminists play, when they're perfectly happy to treat men like shit and spread these conspiracy theories about the patriarchy, these lies about the wage gap, lies about campus rape culture, and then turn around and play the victim and play innocent and say, feminism's just about equality. Give me a break. Give me a break.
So,
as to your second part of your question, I get some shit from conservatives for this answer, by the way, but I agree with you. I agree with you that there are structural historical problems in this country. I agree with you that the black community has been treated like hell by both Democrats and Republicans. I just don't think Black Lives Matter is the answer. I don't think that throwing your toys out the pram and burning your own cities is the answer. I think better schools would help. And I think if black people really wanted to improve their lot and improve their situation, they would start voting for Republicans. Because when they do, and when people police properly, black lives are saved. Bill Clinton, who signed the crime bill in which took thousands of black dads out of families and threw them in jail, the terrible, pointless, awful war on drugs, right? Replacing, the black dad with the state, which is what Democrats have systematically tried to do to you guys for generations. And Black Lives Matter's response isn't to say, we're going to try voting for the other guys because 40 years of this hasn't worked. What we want is better schools so that a poor black child who is smart could go to Harvard. They don't do that. They cause a fuss, they block a road, and they burn their own towns down. So yeah, I agree with you that there's a problem. But I think we probably have very, very different prescriptions for that.